Hi everyone, it's TheTidesChanging here, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. This time I'm making a small 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom Tudor home in Winterberg, which is the world that came with the Get Together expansion pack. And this house costs just under 24,000 simoleons, which means that you can start right off the bat with it if you're starting out with 3 Sims. So in a way, it's sort of a starter home. And I'm actually going to be using this house in my Get Together Let's Play, which will be starting very soon, and I'm actually really excited to get that going. At first what I was going to do was I was just going to modify the starter that was originally here a little bit, because I am building this where that 2-bedroom starter home was. But then I thought it would be really cool to get to use some of the new build and buy mode items and actually make a home for them. That way I could customize it a little bit more to these Sims and play something other than one of the houses that came with the game. I did have a lot of fun making this house and getting to try out some of the new items, and I'm really looking forward to actually putting the house to use. And I did go ahead and make this house 2 floors, and that's because I have been getting requests to do 2-floor budgeted homes, which is definitely more of a challenge than doing a 1-floor one. And not only is it 2 floors, but it also has a basement, which definitely made it much harder to make this come in under 24,000 simoleons, but I actually managed to do it. And the reason why I wanted to have a basement was because I actually haven't done a whole lot with basements. I've done some builds that have had basements, like the bakery for my Get to Work Let's Play. I'm gonna keep mixing up those names. But the bakery for my Get to Work Let's Play had a basement in it. But I don't think I've actually made a house with a basement, and I just thought it'd be really cool to give the Sim in this series who's going to be doing the dancing and the DJ skill their own space away from everyone else to work on their DJ skill. So there is a little landing area at the bottom of the stairs going down to the basement, and that's where I put the turntable, and then off of that little area is the Sim's room. So they got their own little space to work on that, which I thought was really cool, and I think it'll be a really fun house to play in. And also a little bit more about what I'm going to be doing in my Get Together Let's Play is that it's pretty much going to be like a spin-off of or a continuation of my Get to Work Let's Play, where one of the Sims is going to go off to Windenburg and she's going to end up moving in with some roommates who she doesn't even know. So we're going to see them all get to know each other and see how they get along and all of that, which I think is going to be really fun. And I really like that I'm going to be playing with a Sim who I've actually played from childhood rather than just starting with all young adults who are new. Here was where I first came across the decorative Tudor-style build items, so I just stuck a whole bunch of them all over the house. Although unfortunately I had to get rid of them later on because I started to run out of money towards the end. So I did go through and get rid of a whole bunch of unnecessary stuff that I placed throughout the house. But seeing all these items really made me want to build a Tudor-style house where money's no object and I could just, just don't have to keep to a budget and just do whatever I want. And I did want to make another Christmas house this year, so I'm thinking for that I'll build a large Tudor-style house. I think that'd be really fun, and I just really want to get to put these items to good use. Because unfortunately, like I said, I had to delete all of them, pretty much all of them off of this house. But that's actually it for the outside. I really didn't do a whole lot of landscaping because I wanted to focus my attentions on making the interior look as good as I could. Plus, I feel like the world of Windenburg is so beautiful that you don't really need to have as much landscaping as usual. Here I'm furnishing the entrance area, which just has a rug and a coat rack in it. Although you probably could put a skill building item or maybe even a computer desk in there if you wanted to make the area a little bit more useful. And now I'm trying to figure out the wall paints. At first I was going to use one of the ones that came with Get Together, but that didn't look quite right. So I ended up going with a stucco paneling type wallpaper at first, except in the kitchen where I put a stone wallpaper. I just thought that'd be a nice touch for the kitchen, and I wanted the wallpaper and the flooring in this house to have sort of an older feel to it, so I did use the wood flooring that came with spooky stuff, which I think works really well for older homes. And that's also why I decided to use a stucco type wallpaper. Right now I'm working on the kitchen, which is pretty simple, not really a whole lot to it. I did just use the cheapest counters and cabinets to save some money. My thoughts as far as the furnishing of this house was that they moved into this house and it had boring neutral wallpaper throughout, and while they might someday repaint it to make it look more exciting, what they're going to do for now to spice things up a little bit is just put in some brightly colored furniture throughout the house, just to add pops of color here and there. like the cool kitchen dining chairs that you see here. So there is some modern furniture mixed in with this traditional house, and I really like how it looks. I also added in some of the posters that came with Get Together that came in some fun colors throughout. And I did change the paneling to just be this plain stucco wallpaper with a molding on the bottom of it, just because it was a bit cheaper and I wasn't quite feeling the panel type wallpaper. I also added in that wall shelf that came with cool kitchen stuff, although unfortunately I got rid of it later on just because it was sort of expensive and it was just a lot cheaper to use one of the Get Together posters there instead. Furnishing starter homes is always a bit of a challenge for me because I try to balance it between, of course, being cheap and then also looking decent. So usually what always happens at first is that I'll go putting in items that are sort of expensive and then I start running out of money. So later on I have to go back and delete a whole bunch of stuff and change it out. And it's always sort of frustrating, and I feel like it takes me longer to make starter homes than it really should. Like, this one took me a couple hours when I thought it was only going to take me like an hour to do. But right now I'm working on the basement, so this is that DJ area that I was talking about. I wanted the basement to have a sort of unfinished look to it, so that's why I used stone walls throughout it and also use a concrete flooring. And this is the bedroom for our dancing / DJ sim, and her name is Charlotte. Yeah, it's a pretty bare bones room. I didn't really put a whole lot in it. I had to keep things pretty cheap. But I did add in that electric blue rug to add a pop of colors because there were a lot of grays throughout this room. But that's actually it for that room, so now moving all the way upstairs to furnish the only bathroom that's in the house, as well as the other 2 bedrooms. And maybe someday, once they get more money, I could put in another bathroom in the basement. But right now I'm working on the bathroom, which is another pretty bare bones room. And actually all the rooms up here are pretty sparsely furnished because I just really didn't have a whole lot of money to do exactly what I wanted to with this house. I actually did, I did think about giving myself a few extra thousand simoleons to work with and maybe bumping the budget up to 30,000 simoleons, but then I decided not to. I decided to just keep with the challenge of getting this house under 24,000 simoleons. I also added a bookshelf behind the couch so there'd be a skill building item in here other than the DJ booth. Now I'm going back upstairs to work on what will be Maya's bedroom, and Maya, for those of you who don't know, is a sim who was in my Get to Work Let's Play, and she gets the smallest bedroom in the house because she came into it last, so she of course gets the smallest bedroom because everyone else would take the larger ones beforehand. Although, the way I see it, the basement one's probably kind of tied with this one because it's in a basement. Although, that sim does get her own little space outside of her room, so yeah, it's really not that bad. The basement bedroom isn't really that bad of a deal. I think that's actually about it for her bedroom. Yeah, that is. So now moving on to the last bedroom. And the sim who will be staying in this bedroom is Amanda. And I imagine her as being the sim who first found this house. Like, she moved in and then she needed some roommates, so she put up a posting saying that roommates were wanted, and then Charlotte came along and she moved in, and then Maya was the last sim to come along and fill the house. So her room's very, very simple. It's pretty much just a bed and that locker item, and not much else. Maybe just a wall decoration or something like that. This house is just about done, so I wanted to mention that if you want to download it, there will be a link in the description, and you can also find it in-game by searching for Mini Tudor or using the TidesChanging hashtag. That's all I wanted to say, so I hope you enjoy the rest of this video.